Hello and welcome to Rock On here in Shibuya, Tokyo. I am Jim Motley, Head of Business for Solid State Logic for all of the X-Logic and small console products. Today I would like to talk to you a little about the sound of SSL. What is super analog? How does classic SSL sound? But to start with, everybody knows SSL for the big console sound. So this is a very big console. It is the 104 fader 8000 series from Ocean Way Studios in Los Angeles. But SSL do not only make big consoles. So SSL not only make big consoles. In 1991 we made the FX series of outboard products. The 383 was the mic preamp and EQ section from the G series console, and the FX 384 was the bus compressor. So we have been making products for project studios as well as big studios for over 20 years. In 2003 we released the super analog range of outboard processors, and this brings us to the new concept of SSL, which is the Lego Studio. We took a chainsaw to a mixing desk and we cut it into small blocks of processing. So it is possible for you to build a Lego Studio from small blocks of SSL to get the same big console sound. In fact, in our factory we built a Lego console from X-Desk, Expander, X-Rack to make a complete system. But this brings us to the sounds of SSL. SSL works in hybrid studio as well as big studio. Here we have Luke Smith, who works with Depeche Mode, with Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, and in his hybrid studio he has an SSL desk with different colours of modules, analog synths and outboard. This is E-Studios in Finland, who have a similar setup but work a different way, building their Lego Studio. A little smaller, and we have Simon Gray, who is a fantastic jazz funk keyboard player. He works with Incognito and Real People. And on the right we have Sanctuary Studios of Dave McEwen and Eric Apapule. And these guys have built a different Lego Studio. Finally, you can get some crazy Lego Studios. This is a friend of ours in Australia who wants all of his outboard to load on any channel of his desk. So we can see the Lego Studio can be built in different ways. SSL has 3 sounds in its Lego Studio. The first is our super analog technology, which began in 1994 with the J series. Then in 2002 the K series, the AWS and the Duality desk. And super analog has some design choices, so the sound is the same as if you were in the room. It aims not to colour. And if you have chosen a microphone and put it in the right place for the sound, you don't want to change that. We do this by using no transformers. Super analog sound has DC servo coupled, so very high bandwidth, no distortion. We also do not use VCAs in the fader path because they can be slightly noisy and introduce harmonics. But perhaps the most important aspect is we have no capacitors in the signal path. When you insert a capacitor, it is a bit like an EQ, and the material inside the capacitor can change the sound of the audio. So with super analog, we have a super wide frequency bandwidth. In an X-Desk, for example, the -3 dB points are at 6 Hz and 174 kHz. And it is flat in between the critical range of 20 Hz and 20 kHz. Another reason for the big sound of super analog is phase. The blue line shows the phase consistency, and you can see between 100 Hz and 10 kHz, phase is flat. This means you have a very good stereo image, and the two together is probably the reason why hip-hop guys love SSL so much, because you get big low frequencies for big bass lines. So super analog is the modern sound of SSL. It is wide bandwidth, it is fast, it is defined. But we have another sound, which is the way we work in the Lego Studio with super analog. And in the X-Rack system, we can choose between the preamp, the dynamics, or EQ. And we also make stereo dynamics and stereo EQ to build your Lego blocks. There are some mixing engineers who tell you the classic SSL sound is the one for them, especially for rock music. And in 1977 we released the 4000B, in 1981 the 4000E, and in 1989 the 4000G series. The classic SSL sound has more crunch, has more bite, has more pump. So if you want a more coloured sound, a more aggressive sound, a more raw sound, then the 4000 series gives you this sound for your Lego Studio. In the X-Rack we can take this sound with the 4000 series dynamics and EQ, and these are faithful rebuilding of the original E series circuit, even with the brown and black knob EQs. We also have the classic SSL bus compressor, and this design has been in every console we have ever made. It's the simple sound of an SSL mix bus, and engineers call it audio glue. However, as well as super analog and the crunchy black sound from the 4000 series, we have one more technology to change the sound of SSL, and that is VHD. VHD stands for Variable Harmonic Distortion, and VHD is built into a mic preamp circuit. When you do good engineering and you keep the meters green, this is a clean, fast, neutral preamp. But like with tube equipment or transformer equipment, the sound really comes when you push it hard and make it distort. When you drive the circuit into distortion, it generates harmonic distortion, either as second harmonic, like a valve, third harmonic, like a transistor, or any blend of second and third harmonic together. This means that VHD can sometimes sound warm, or sometimes sound very hard and distorted. It's fantastic for recording drums to give a roundness to the sound, but also very good for processing after you have recorded, to crush a drum loop or make a guitar lo-fi. This circuit is in our Duality console, and this is Kevin Shirley, famous rock engineer from Iron Maiden to Black Sabbath to Ozzy Osbourne, and he loves to use VHD on his productions, built into the Duality in his home studio in Malibu. But in the Lego Studio you can also have VHD in the VHD preamp, the alpha channel, and the VHD module for the X-Rack. In the alpha channel you also have a G-series EQ, a limiter and an AD converter, but perhaps the most flavour sound in anything from the Lego Studio is the VHD module, which not only allows you to add distortion and to drive a sound, but it also has the famous SSL listen mic compressor. Very useful for parallel compression on drums or even on backing vocals. And this gives a very hard attack, crunchy SSL tone. So there you have it, the three analog sounds of SSL. Super analog for fast, hi-fi, modern pop or hip-hop. the crunchy classic E-series, great for rock music or for old school. And finally, VHD, the thing that can shape your sound to many different tones. I hope you found this useful, but the best way to hear the sound of SSL is to listen for yourself. Please come and visit Rock On's fantastic demo room, and the staff will be happy to show you the sound of analog SSL. Thank you very much.